In the Hudson High School, I've been hearing that the students are getting a lot of homework in most of their classes. Almost all my friends, including myself, have been stressed out about the homework in school, which made me wonder, what are the students' and teachers' thoughts of the amount of homework in general? I set off to ask 3 students, Kylianne and Juliana, who are freshmen, and Kellen, who's a sophomore. I also asked one of my teachers, Mr. Schuch, who gives us homework himself. First set of questions I asked my interviewees has to do with, do you think homework is helpful, stressful, and do you think sports get in the way with the amount of time for you to do homework?
Homework is important because when you learn something like during class time, it's kind of in your short-term memory. So you got it, you hear what the teacher says, you do some practice stuff, you work with other kids, and you really have it cooking during class. And so everything is right in kind of the forefront of your brain, and you think you've got it. But what really locks it into the long-term memory is the practice.
I think homework is helpful to an extent of just how much you're giving and what the homework is about, or if it's actually helping with the subject you're learning.
For some stuff, it can be helpful to kind of like nail in.
I think that homework is helpful because it makes learning easier, I guess.
I think homework can be stressful. I think it forces you to be, really organized with your time. I think that's kind of the key is like you have to have a way of managing it. It's so you have to really try to prioritize and be efficient.
I usually spend 2 to 3 hours on homework, and I usually do biology.
I do basketball, baseball, and volleyball. Homework does not get in the way of this.
I usually spend 2 to 3 hours a day for my homework. I usually spend it on biology and English.
Homework does stress me out just because we're coming from each class, we have about 6 classes, maybe 7 classes, and so trying to get all that done on time is just stressful.
If there's a lot of it, or if I just don't like the class, that stresses me out.
Homework does stress me out because of the amount of homework that we have for each class is different, which really stresses me out.
And I do sports, so it does sometimes get in the way because we have like a game or practice that's like 1 or 2 hours, and then we have to go home, do homework from every class, maybe even projects, and then we still have to like have time to eat, shower, get stuff ready for the next day.
I think one of the things that you have to do is you have to kind of manage the stress a little bit. So I think using letting your teachers know when you're struggling so that you're not struggling by yourself, especially kind of when you're at home a lot and you're trying to figure stuff out on your own. You really have to access your allies. You have to figure out, are there other kids that can help me? Are there resources online that I can use?
I then asked my final thoughts to Mr. Shu and the students if we should reduce the amount of homework during the school week and weekends, since most of the students are spending 2 to 3 hours of homework a day in most of their classes.
I would say if teachers reduce the amount of homework, my grades or people's grades would improve, because for me, my grades were going down just because I wasn't doing my homework or I couldn't get my homework in on time, but like my tests and stuff were fine.
Like my grades right now are really good because of my homework. So I think the more homework, the better my grade is.
I think it's good to have homework for like all your classes. For some subjects like Spanish, like any sort of language, I think is necessary because you need to do like Quizlet and stuff.
In our country right now, our value system and the way we're set up is that we want everybody to reach kind of a minimal level of being relatively strong in all subject areas, so that when you go into higher education, into college, you have a solid foundation to jump off of.
Teachers should be reducing the amount of homework that we do on weekends because we shouldn't be in our rooms stressing about homework.
I think homework is necessary for all types of subjects, but it just depends on, like I said, how much is being given and if it's actually like necessary, if you like actually need to know what the homework is telling you.
Really the difference between the kind of the top students and the students who are just kind of getting by are the kids who go home and really do the homework and do a nice job reinforcing everything they learn, because then it helps, like I said, it helps stay in your long-term memory.
As we can see from this interview, homework can be stressful and not really helpful due to the amount of homework teachers give us, even though homework can be really good practice, especially as a study tool. Since this is occurring, I propose a plan for the school to give us only 1 hour or less for homework, but that will be for next time.